Hello, everybody. I'm pleased to announce Deveeshree, Nayak.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and hearing me, any part of the world. My name is Deveeshree Nayak, and I go by she and her. Today, we'll be discussing a couple of things, which is, how to getting started with pen testing, intro to open source intelligence, and how can you create a diversity and inclusion cybersecurity team in an organization. And these are recommendation you can take as per your convenience. And these are recommendation and advices and some of the research I have done. So anything you are utilizing, you are actually taking your own decision. If you would like to reach out to me, this is my LinkedIn profile. Feel free to reach out to me. So, um, so let's get started. And because I know that these topics are like itself is a kind of a course, I can say. I will be just adding best practices, like, kind of a checklist for all of you. If you are in this direction or interested in pursuing on this path and how to get started and what are the approaches you can take. Again, as I mentioned, you can take it as per your convenience. So first, the disclaimer, the opinion expressed in this presentation and slides are solely mine and my research purposes. And you can use this for your educational purposes. Again, not necessarily any organization I am mentioning, I am endorsing, but this is like, for recommendation for all of you to get benefited. So when we talk about pen testing, there are many questions I get all the time that how do we get started? Even if I am in security, even if I am in education and cybersecurity policy, I have a coding background, I don't know where to start. So pen testing is one of the great way to get started. And how to get started is basically like, how do you like literally when we talk about like understanding of pen testing. And when we talk about understanding of pen testing, it is very, very important that we go through and we understand the ethics behind it. And when we talk about understanding of ethics behind it, it is important for us to know why we are doing pen testing or why we are using this skill set. And you may ask this question that why ethics? Why I need to understand ethics of hacking? Because during the hacking processes, you may open yourself or you may get access to people's information, people's personal information. So it is very, very important that you understand the ethics behind the access privilege you got and how do you use it. So it's very, very important that you understand the ethics of hacking before you get into the hacking, because many times when you have power and privileges, it is very, very important of if a person actually like take a decision. So when you're decision making position, it is important for you to understand that like how those decisions can impact whom and can have a positively impact somebody or negatively impact. So when you get started, pen testing to getting started, it's not difficult. You need to familiar yourself into some networking concept, and the networking concept you can get started when we talk about like from your home network. You can play around with your home network, having a safety net, compartmentalizing of your internet between guest and your private networks. If you have children, you can also compartmentalize. Having networking concept will help you to more get into pen testing. If you are like interested in getting like more basic of programming, Python, JavaScript are the really good programming language to get started. And if you are really, really into like good in language, get started with Python, which will help you in pen testing environment. Some of the tools to know to get started with pen testing, definitely OWASP top 10. Become familiar with OWASP, be a part of OWASP, attend OWASP meeting in your local chapters, and get familiar yourself with OWASP projects. Then some other tools like Nmap, Metaxploit, Kali Linux will help you to get started with pen testing. One of the things I think I always hear that people have a lot of anxiety of like, we don't know when I can, get after getting started, we don't know what direction to go. I strongly recommend and advise that like, do not be fearful about the things you started. It's okay to break, it's okay to make mistakes, and that's the part of learning, and you do. Some of the things which, if you're really interested, you can literally do join Try Hack Me or Hack the Box. They also have a learning path which you can really practice without worry about failing or something. You can create an account and you can get started with that, and that's how you kind of like get started with pen testing. And again, this is a very basic, so for the people who actually does not have a pen testing background and wanted to get started. Next is when we talk about, we're talking about how can a person, if they're interested or good at open source intelligence, how do they will get into. So what is open source intelligence? So according to Director of National Intelligence in the United States, open source intelligence is publicly available information which appears in any form, such as electronics form, including TV, radio, television, internet, definitely, commercial database, videos, any kind of drawing, or in local, in gathering information. It's a collection responsibility which is broadly distributed. And open source intelligence is basically, as we are seeing, that it's a skill set, or you can get better and better the more you practice. And a person can be in security and become pro in open source intelligence. You do not need a coding background. The background you need is very much how you can gather and analyze and search, and make it a kind of like put it together and form and lead to a particular solution of a problem. For example, missing person, how to analyze a picture, how to analyze a um, post, how to analyze where the picture is being taken, having different tools. So open source intelligence nowadays is very, very popular. And how to get started with open source intelligence, you need to understand again ethics as well, because you must not use your skill set for stalking somebody, harassing somebody, or bullying. Must not. Why open source intelligence? This skill set is used for helping somebody, finding a person who has been lost, helping law enforcement to finding cyber criminals, or people who are threatening to the society, based on like causing harm. So you must not use these skills for to, again, as I said, like if you are using it, then that's the ethical issue. That's why understanding of ethics is very, very important. When we talk about that, like who needs it, open source intelligence actually been used by many people, especially government, individual, and non-profit organizations for several purposes. Finding missing person, you can like it's one of the and helping sex trafficker victims, and stabilize them, finding them, help them from removing them from the people who they are captured by. So these are like very, very good causes if you would like to get into open source intelligence, to motivate you to be helpful for others who cannot help themselves. So how do you get started? You can be curious, become familiar with search engines of like Google, Firefox, etc., or Internet Explorer, but you need to know how to search, and that's a great skill. And very good at, in other words saying, like good at Googling, and be good with navigating with social media. All social media websites we can do, and understanding their controls, their privacy settings, their functions and controls as well, to finding the information. Familiar yourself with OSINT framework. And OSINT framework, if you Google it up, it will come up with like this framework which is available. Become very much familiar with that. There are a lot of tools will help you in your analysis purpose. Any kind of programming language which helps is Python is for the starting, and then if you have other programming languages, that will be great. There are some certification which is recommended. The science has a lot of free resources, which I have provided the link as well. You can look for that. And science also offers a OSINT course, which is very expensive. So I recommend you to get started from the free version. And then, once you start, if you can afford it, then you will be able to, go for the course and certification. Our third topic in this is that how can we creating a D&I cybersecurity team? And when we talk about D&I, it's diversity and inclusion. So there are certain recommendations when we talk about, and when we may have a lot of questions that diversity inclusion we are talking about, we are practicing, we are doing everything, but still we have questions. What should we do? The first thing is learn the history of D&I in cybersecurity. We need to understand the statistics. We need to know the statistics, what is happening in the world, what is happening in our country, what is happening in our region, and map it out that whether the organization I am working or organization I am leading are actually doing something about it, diversity inclusion, when we talk about cybersecurity. There are two aspects to it. Sometimes we believe that D&I is a very broader topic and the organization as a whole should be focusing on it. That's true, but as a cybersecurity professional, we also have a gap. So we should be focusing on when we talk about the team we are leading, and focusing on cybersecurity teams rather than focusing on in general. In general is great, but I'm talking about more core. So it's very, very important. We learn the history of D&I in cybersecurity. What is the representation? What can we do? Asking, and then create a survey in your organization to understand it better way. And the survey I recommend to be anonymous, because when a survey is anonymous, people tend to speak more. When you are gathering data with people's information, people kind of not tend to respond to the survey. So an anonymous survey to understand D&I in your organization, actually good start if you don't have a D&I program. The policy is different than having a team or having a kind of form a council, very promising. Then be partner with people, build a D&I initiative program at your organization, and be partner with D&I organizations like Women in Cybersecurity and OWASP, Women in AppSec, and invite speakers, conduct training and workshops. At least having a conversation going on really help in cybersecurity to encourage people of underrepresented community to participate. Create a D&I council in your organization. I myself is a member of our organization in the Diversity Inclusion Council in School of Engineering Technology. So it's possible. Building training programs and having best practices everywhere in your organization is another step to move forward. And then setting goals, strategies, and follow up with it. So creating the policy is not enough. Enforcing is important. Having a team, follow up with yearly goal, quarterly goal to achieve it is actually action oriented, and achieving D&I success in a particular team and organization. There are some recommended training, which if you are interested in learning more about, are Coursera, diversity and inclusion. edX also have an inclusive leadership training, and Microsoft also have a diversity D&I course as well. And these are free courses. You can sign up and take it for knowledge enhancement purpose. Feel free to reach out to me if you need additional sources and any additional information. So the takeaway is when we talk about these three different topics, pen testing, open source intelligence, and how to create a DNI environment, we must practice, practice, practice. I can't stress enough. The more you practice, the more pro you become. And we know there is a problem, but we must focus on the solution and how we can empower ourselves to help each other by helping each other. So that's all for just have providing a. I hope this talk will help you to get started. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. And thank you so much for spending time and listening. Now we'll have any questions if you have. Thank you so much.